Hello students, let us start with chapter 8 Human Health and Disease, class 12th Biology. Today we will be seeing the first part out of the three parts which the chapter has been divided. We'll see the health, disease and the organisms related to the disease. First of all, let us see the chapter says human health and disease. So what is health actually? When you say health, it means it's a state of complete physical, mental, and social well being. If a person is physically fit, if a person is mentally fit, if a person is social well being, it means that he has no tension, he is tension free, he is relaxed, he is enjoying, and that person is having a good health. But the question arises, but in today's world, who is having a good health? It's very difficult to answer because every person has some stress. A child has examination fear, examination stress. Parents have result and some other issues. Every person has different stress. In such a condition, you cannot say that physical, mental, and social well being, it cannot be fit. But if you can imagine that there is someone who will be physically fit. You might have seen some people who are having good the workouts, so they go gym and you see them and you find that yeah, they are very good, but they have mental stress. Then if you see some people who do yoga regularly and other things, but they may not able to run 100 meters also, so they might be mentally fit but they might not be physically fit. You might have seen some of the children, students, and even some elder peoples also, they don't get easily involved in the socialized life. They have either some fear or some kind of something which they don't mix up. So in that case, if you find nobody is healthy, so when we say who is healthy, yes, there is someone, or there is an answer for it. So and so is healthy. You need to comment, you need to give me answer. If it is correct, I will reply you back. And if you don't even get the answer, I will definitely give the answer in next lecture. What does the good health helps? It actually increase the longevity of people, and it reduce the infant and maternal mortality rate, that is called MMR. Now yeah, a good healthy person can live long, definitely, but it also reduce the infant and mother's mortality rate. Mortality means death. Infant means small kids, very small, just born babies. So their death rates can be decreased, and that is why good health helps. It is maintained. How good health is maintained? So it is maintained by a balanced diet. See, we have heard about balanced diet. Many times we have seen that balanced diet. We should have a balanced diet. But what is balanced diet? Balanced diet. So if you just have a food around you, and if you say there is a rice, there is a vegetable sabji, there is a dal, there is a roti, there might be a curd or a buttermilk. These all different ingredients in your plate gives you different kind of minerals, vitamins, and protein and carbon source. And that has to be in a balanced form, quantity and quality both wise. Second thing, you should have a personal hygiene which helps very good to maintain a good health. We all have personal hygiene, so I don't need to explain that. The third is which most of the people lack, that is regular exercise. Yoga. I think very few people nowadays people are, but still regularly we don't do exercise or yoga. Small kids are being vaccinated against infectious disease. As soon as there is a birth, and they get the vaccine on the same day. So that helps to keep the good health. Proper disposal of the waste. Yes, you cannot dispose the waste anywhere. It has to be in a proper way, proper fashion, proper manner, and it has to be treated properly before disposal also. Control of the vectors and maintenance of the hygiene food. Yes, see, vectors means organisms which carries pathogens. Now pathogen means disease causing organisms. Now this disease causing organism is being carried out by some of the insects, and insects are basically vectors. Like mosquito carries plasmodium, so malaria is caused by plasmodium. Mosquito is just a carrier. So if we control the vectors, the disease spread out will be nil or very very less, and this will also helps to maintain the good atmosphere and the good health around or surrounding. And the last is the maintenance of the hygienic food and water resources. If you have a pond or a lake, it has to be not used for dumping the waste. It has to be tried that it has a good water, at least for drinking purpose of animals, or it can be used for growing some vegetables if it is not been disposed with bad waste. Hygiene of the food can be maintained by covering the food with some of the mosquito nets and utensils are available. So if you say good health, then balanced diet, personal hygiene, regular exercise, yoga, vaccination against infectious disease, proper disposal of the waste, control of the vectors, maintenance of the hygiene food and water resources. How health is affected now? Yeah, it is affected. Because if you try to do all these activities which I have just said, and still if you are lacking somewhere, then health is affected. The first reason might be a genetic disorder. It might be hereditary. That means from your parents. If your parents are having some genetic disorders, it is coming to you. So in spite you are maintaining all the good things related to health, the disease is still there. Second is infections. Health is always affected by infections. Infections, many different varieties of infections you will find, short term, long term. We'll see it when we go further. And third is the lifestyle, that is the food and water we take, the rest, the exercise, the habits. We have just mentioned that we have to have good regular exercise and yoga. So overall, if you see, if you try to maintain all the possible things for your good health, you can get out of this disease. Now there was one term which you might have studied, disease free and healthy. There is a difference between disease free and healthy. If you know, you can comment later on. Disease free means a person is not having any disease, but he is not healthy. He is not having any disease, he is not carrying any disease, any kind of the disease which is listed, but he is not healthy. If you ask him to just uh, walk, say, 5 kilometers, he won't able to do it. If you ask him to participate in any athletes or any games, he won't able to do it, he or she. And that is disease free but not healthy. So healthy are those person who are physically complete, mentally and socially well-being. And that is the difference. You should remember, healthy and disease free. So 90% of the people in the world are disease free. They are not healthy. And in the disease free, some are definitely having genetic disorders, so they are part of the disease. And some, because of the irregularity of exercise and food and rest and habits, they come into the disease part. Coming to the next point, disease. Any condition which interferes the normal functioning of the body, which cause the disorder of the mind and or body both, is called disease. Again, I am repeating. Any condition which interferes the normal functioning of the body and which cause the disorder of mind or body is called disease. A system works in our body. The heart does heart work, the liver has a liver role, the kidney has its function, the stomach has its function, intestines, they have their work. So all things work in coordination and they know their role. But a condition arises, some whatever condition, the reason we'll see later, but a condition arises in which the functioning of the body does not give 100%. And because one of the organ is not functioning properly, it affects all the organs, and thus you find some kind of disturbance in your body. And that definitely comes to your mind also. Yeah, something is wrong in body. And then you can say, yes, it might be infections or disease, something. So most of the disease or the disease which is caused by organisms are called pathogens. Disease which are caused by organisms are called pathogens. All parasites are pathogens because they cause harm to the host, either living in or on of the body or in the body. They enter the body, they multiply, they interfere the vital activities, they cause the morphological and functional damage. So pathogen, they adapt to the life within the environment of host. For example, you can say pathogen living in the gut must survive at low pH and it resists to digestive diseases. So see, all parasites which are pathogen, they cause harm to the host. Suppose our pathogen has entered our body, it is causing harm to our host. How? These pathogens are very clever. They go to our body either by mouth, that is by food or water, or by the openings, natural openings. They go to our body, they find the perfect place where they can accommodate. Once they accommodate, they start taking the meal, that is the bread and butter from us. They get energized, they get reproduced, and the number of pathogens are produced in our body, and thus it starts killing our body and we get disease. And there are many pathogens. So this is one of the examples that disease which are caused by organisms are called pathogens, and pathogens go to our body, either they live on or they go inside. Sometimes the pathogen don't go or invade our body, but they live on the surface of the skin also, and then they cause issues. Now disease can be two types basically, infectious and non-infectious. Infectious disease are easily transmitted from one infected person to another, while non-infectious cannot be transmitted from one person to another. For example, infectious, if I say cold, if I'm having cold and if a person is sitting next to me, easily he or she will get cold, because if I sneeze, even if I have a hanky or something, but the droplets in the air, that is called aerosols, will definitely spread and it will get a cold. But not infectious. Suppose if I'm having headache, a person sitting next to me will not get a headache. So that is not infectious. In infectious, the disease are due to the pathogens mostly, while non-infectious, it can be hereditary also. Mostly it's hereditary or environmental also. Sometimes the temperature of surrounding is so high or so cold, you may have some dizziness or headache or fever. That can be a possibility. Infectious disease, the public health and the personal hygiene reduce the probability of the disease, while non-infectious, the public or personal hygiene they are ineffective. So good example which I have given is the virus which cause cold, tetanus, HIV, hepatitis B. These are all infectious, while non-infectious are you have a cancer, you have a headache, you have a fever. Basically, it is not transferable. So infectious and non-infectious we have seen today. Again, I am repeating that health, disease, and types of disease, infectious and non-infectious. I'll just give an introduction before we go with the second part. Common infectious disease. Infectious diseases are caused by some of the pathogens, and these pathogens are quite common. We have heard about it. It can be bacteria, it can be virus, it can be protozoa, it can be fungus, it can be helminthes. Again, it can be bacteria, it can be virus, it can be protozoa, it can be fungus, and it can be helminthes. I'll give one example of this, and then we'll go with the second part where I will explain the disease and the types of it. For example, bacterial disease. We have typhoid. You have heard about typhoid, right? Pneumonia, diphtheria, dysentery. These are all bacterial diseases which are caused by bacteria, different types of bacteria. We have virus which cause common cold, polio, easy. Then protozoa, malaria, amoebiasis. These are protozoa diseases. Fungus, I think ringworm, you might have heard and you have seen the ad in the TV also. Helminthes disease, ascaris filariasis. This is, I think you might have heard this word in class 9 science textbook. Ascaris filariasis, you might have heard this. So these are the 5 different pathogens or group of pathogens which cause different diseases. So we have to study at least 2 diseases in each of the category, and that we will see in the next part. So before we end, the question was, if everyone is having some stress and if everyone is not healthy, then who is healthy? So the answer is small kids, babies. They don't have tension of examination. They are given best food. They are pampered by all the family members without worry. All are taking care of them and they are enjoying their life. But very short period of time, they are healthy. But once they come to the school, the health is gone, what we see. Because under the stress of the examination and studies and parent pressures, peer pressure, everything is being ruined. So kids, they are good till they are small and they are healthy. Fine, we'll see the next lecture of all different categories, and we'll go through all the examples which are given in our course. Thank you.